The last chance qualifier is next, and we have a surprising grid today. It will be Waleed who lines up on pole position. Jake takes second place. We don't usually see these two in the last chance qualifier. This is where they are now, though, after a handful of unlucky elimination races. Orion, in his first tournament in quite some time, is in P3, Seth is in P4, and Mitch does not set a lap time. He'll be in 5th place.
It's a slow roll through the grid on the formation lap in second gear, but pretty soon the 6-cylinder BMW M1 Pro cars will be roaring around the track. Waleed cuts the beam and the race is underway. Jake falls in behind. Orion looks to be getting ready to go for a pass around the outside in the braking zone. Both Seth and Mitch braking late into turn 1. They might be able to put one of their cars ahead of Orion, but there's contact between Orion and Seth. Mitch holds the inside line. He gets through okay. Not too far behind Jake, but Seth and Orion, they had contact, and their races, I feel, are going to be over before it really even starts.
There's not an awful lot that Orion could have done there. It was definitely an aggressive, optimistic overtake attempt from Mitch, but you have to look at your mirrors a little bit more frequently. If there's a car coming up that fast, then you have to be aware, and you have to let them fly past if that's what's going to happen. Even yield the position if you feel like you're going to get spun out.
Waleed is pulling away, but Mitch is not letting Jake get anywhere. Jake has made a handful of mistakes through that pass corner with that crest. That braking is hard to get right. If you brake too hard or something like that where the brake bias is too far to the rear, then the car will lock the rear wheels because there's not enough load on the tires to keep the grip on them, so it could spin out like we saw in his elimination race. But Jake goes deep. Mitch is going to get the inside, and he might be able to get around there side by side. Jake braking too late and going very wide there, but Mitch putting on a fight potentially to get into the final. But Jake isn't going to be done yet. He's still got some consistency. He's still got pace in his own car. They're going to go side by side into turn 1. Mitch gets it a little bit squirrely, but holds it on the track. Not even, but that's a big slide. Returning to the track when he goes over those inside curbs. Those are a little bit elevated. You bounce over them a little bit. They kind of have some you can kind of see it there. There's a little bit of drop off to the very inside off the track. It sort of ramps up when you're actually on the racing surface, but it's a very aggressive jump up when you're coming back from off the track. So if you hook the inside wheels over the curb, sure, you can get a little bit more turn in, but you can also unsettle the car. I don't think that Mitch was going for that at all. He was late on the brakes. There was just nowhere else to really go except for on the curb, and he was a little bit too soon on the throttle. It threw the car out a little bit too much. He's lost ground from that, but look at Waleed and how much ground he's making just from pace. Even if Jake didn't get in that scuffle with Mitch, which wouldn't have lost him that much time, but it is still a battle that he has to fight, and he has to make the time up from when he went wide there.
You're saying that even if that hadn't happened, Waleed would just still be gone.
Yeah, no one else in this run group can keep up with his pace at the moment. He's honed this car in. He knows exactly where to put it and how to drive it. He knows how to get the maximum time out of the car while keeping it on the track. He came in with pace. The only thing that he really needed to work on was his consistency and keeping the car straight on the track, and he's got it sorted out now. It's planted, it looks smooth. He's using as little curb as he can, because in these cars, the way that they run so low and the way that they're so loose, you don't really want to use more curb than you have to. Sure, it'll make the corner less tight. It'll close the into the wall there, coming out of the tunnel. That's a very sketchy section. Pretty much no matter how you take the line through the exit of the tunnel, that car is gonna go sideways. That's exactly what I'm saying. That's how wild this car is to drive. It's loose. There's no other way to put it. It's not that grippy of a car when it comes to all these elevation changes. And the bridge circuit, well, it's exactly that. It's covered in elevation change. There's not a single flat bit of the track, it would seem sometimes. And I'd say it's even more so of an elevation change cambery circuit than that of Zandvoort, which is what we ran last time. It's like a roller coaster, this track. Honestly, you can just see it in the replay that it just goes up and down everywhere. Even the back straight and the final straight, for that matter. Well, yes, they aren't going up a crest just quite as much as the crest that Mitch was on just now, but it's still bumpy. It's not smooth. The racing surface is still uneven, even when it isn't, going through and over the environment. And look at the size of this crest. You can't even see the corner when you're in the car. You can't see the corner. You have to rely on your knowledge of the track. And like I said, when you're going over the crest, the car becomes lighter because it started. Oh, who's that? That is Seth. Seth has gone off in turn 1. It's a difficult exit to get. It's hard to decide whether or not you want to be in second or third gear, and if you go over the curbs wrong, the car can just throw itself sideways without even letting you even think about having it go the other way. There's just no control once the car slides out that far, and it's so sudden with the curbs and the way that they throw the car around. It really is aggressive. But going back to what I was saying a while ago, the elevation change when the car goes over a crest or down into a dip, it wants to sort of take flight. You know, the car has a lot of downforce for what it is, let's be honest. You can see it from the massive splitter, the wing, the ground effect. It really is quite an aerodynamic car, but nonetheless, if it goes over a crest or anything, it still wants to take flight. It wants to follow a straight path, and that just happens. The straight path just happens to be going into the sky. So the tire is now not as loaded. The ride height increases, which decreases the effect of whoa! Up onto nearly 2 wheels there from Jake. That curb, if you hook it too far to the inside, it has potential to upset the car, even roll the car if you're not careful. But when the suspension, the ride height increases when you're going over a crest, then you lose ground effect, and it negatively affects the aerodynamics, but it also takes weight off the car's tires. And you're thinking, well, less weight allows the car to change direction faster. Not necessarily. If there's no weight on the tires, then there's less friction. There's no load on the tires. It's not being pushed into the ground. That's the point of downforce, is to push the car into the ground so that the tires have a greater load without greatly increasing weight. And you can feel that so much in these cars and on these tracks.
Yeah, this tournament really does favor someone who would know that, who would be familiar and have enough experience to realize that when you're going over a hill or down a bump and the tires become unloaded, that reduces the grip. Even if you are going to go slow, if you slam on the brakes, in order to go slow while you're going over a crest, there's less load, like you said. That will lock the wheels. That's in fact what happened to Jake in the elimination races. He went over a crest, he got on the brakes too hard, and because of that load, that lack of load that was on the tires, it locked the rear and it sent him spinning.
I will just say that Jake and Mitch are still surprisingly close to each other. If you look at the gap, it's not that great, actually. I would say that Mitch is keeping it exactly where it is. It's getting just slightly bigger. But, Jake missing the apex there. But that's going to be Mitch with a spin. Oh, dear. He did exactly what we were talking about earlier. I would assume that he locked the rears going over that crest. That's caught so many people out. So many really good drivers. And beginners as well. It really can get anyone. But the 2 corners before and after the tunnel are the scariest corners on the track. The car just becomes so unsettled and so unpredictable through that sector. It's not really a surprise to see people spin there, because some of the elevation change you can't really see that much through there. It's definitely still there, and you can see it a little bit clearer through the replay. But if you come out of the tunnel at any kind of angle whatsoever, whether you take it wide, tight, clip the inside curb or not, the car steps out, and you have to counter steer in order to not spin on the exit of the tunnel. Every single lap, these guys have to counter steer significantly in order to keep it from... Oh, look at Jake with that big twitch there. But hopefully we can go on board with him and see through the exit of the tunnel. There will not be a single lap where these cars are pushing and they do not have to correct the slide. Oh, we cut away to Waleed right before then.
But Waleed is driving incredibly fast. I mean, he's definitely the guy to watch right now. Look at that lap time. 1:16.6 in a race is a really good time to have, and he seems to be doing that consistently. He hasn't made any mistakes this time, and his other races, you can't say the same. There's been a couple of instances where he's lost the rear of the car, but not this time. Not this time at all. He's kept it planted, and he's kept it on the track, and he's been pushing every single lap.
Absolutely. He's built a monstrous gap to P2. He doesn't even need that. The only thing that you need is P2. He's not under threat from Jake at all. Even if he was close, the top 2 finishers are the ones that go on to the finals. So we could stop on the track, let Jake fly by, let Mitch get pretty close, and maybe even just let Mitch go around and then pass him in the next few corners. That's the kind of pace that Waleed has at the moment. It is completely unmatched. And not only that, like you said, it is consistent. He hasn't made a single mistake this race. Hopefully we can go on board with
Oh,
Waleed
wow.
through
Look at
here.
how smooth that was.
He actually kept it incredibly straight through there.
I don't think we've seen that yet.
Oh, no way. I don't think so either. That just shows the amount of car control that Waleed has developed with this thing. Everyone else has to be going at least, I don't know, 15 degrees sideways through there, having the counter steer almost 90 degrees with the wheel.
Well, that is into the final corner now for Waleed, and I think it's safe to say that he's earned his spot in the final this time.
That's undeniable. Him and Jake, they've done a good job this time, that's for sure. They definitely deserve to have their chance at the final. But Jake has to figure something out because he can't keep up with Waleed at the moment. Whether or not he was pushing, we're not sure. Maybe he was just playing it safe so they could keep Mitch behind, but he didn't want to lose control of the car. Nobody's saying that he isn't sandbagging quite yet, but he's going to have to take those sandbags off on his way into the final because that is almost 2 seconds a lap faster from Waleed. He definitely needs all the help that he can get, even if he is just purposefully going slower. Yeah, there we are. That's our lineup. Waleed and Jake are going to be joining the finals with Jackson, Garrett, Cooper, and Dylan. We'll have to see how it goes. Stay tuned. We'll have coverage for that here shortly.
From what we can see, it is going to be unbelievably close, so do not miss this one.
This is also the last tournament that we're going to be doing in our old building. We're moving after this one. So if you want to join in, you're going to have to look at Yellowstone Grand Prix Facebook page for more information on that. But we'll see you in the final.